Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is one of my epiphanies out of many. I wanted to talk about an epiphany I had back on June 3rd, 2015. Yahuwah speaks to us in many different ways. Before I was able to actually hear his voice, he spoke to me in many different ways. And this is one of my epiphanies, one of my testimonies that happened 3 years ago on June 3rd, 2015. This is before I knew his name. This is before I came into truth. And this is before I heard his voice and I actually spoken with him. I never documented this or wrote it down or made any videos, so I wanted to document it today in a video. I started my day on June 3rd, 2015 with a Facebook post saying something along the lines of, I have faith that everyone will find their way. I said something along the lines of, I want to apologize to anybody who I've ever offended, and I want to tell everybody that I love them, just in case I don't get a chance to. Something going on in my spirit. Was I feeling something? I don't know. But that was in fact my Facebook post to start the day. The first place I went to start my day, every single day, I used to go to church. Not to sit for Mass, but I would go there. I looked at it like I was going to visit my father before I would start my day for myself. And this was before I knew about bowing down to images, and I still called him pagan terms like God and Lord. I still called on the Messiah as Jesus Christ. I didn't call on him as YAHUSHA because I didn't know their names. I only came into truth about almost a year ago. So this was, like I said, this was 3 years ago. I started my day off at church. I was actually looking to make my confirmation. I thought I was doing the right thing. I was looking for information to make my confirmation. I knew the Catholic Church was corrupt. I knew something was up with statues, but I didn't really dig too deep. I didn't know we weren't supposed to bow to images. I knew little things like we're not supposed to call our priest Father, only our Heavenly Father, things of that like that. But I wanted to make my confirmation not for religious purposes. I wanted to get closer to our Father and build a better relationship with Him. So that's kind of the track I was on. So I would start my day every day off at church, and then I would go about my business and do whatever I had to do. This particular day, I was going to inquire information about confirmation, the sacraments, because I made my communion when I was younger, and I wanted to finish it off. After I left church, I went up to. Well, I was listening to. I drove up to upstate New York, and I live in New Jersey, and it's about an hour and a half ride. Yeah, about an hour and a half ride. I was listening to worship music the whole way up there, and when I got up there, a crow landed on a car next to me, and I was still in my vehicle, and I looked over at the crow, and the crow looked right at me, and it was like, "Caw!" And I was just like, whoa, like the noise went right through me, and I felt it in my spirit, I felt it in my ruah, something was wrong. So I had this really, really, really strange feeling, and as I said, the first thing I thought of was like, I'm going home. As I said, I'm going home, the worship music, the program that I was listening to on the radio, the name of it was I'm Going Home. So as I said I'm going home, I heard I'm going home at the same time, simultaneously. So I'm even more like a little bit freaked out now because the crow made that noise and it like looked into my soul. It was like, what? I was just like, whoa. And then I'm going. The first thing I thought it was home, and I had just gotten up there. I was like, I'm going home. And as I'm saying I'm going home, I'm hearing I'm going home on the radio. So I'm all like shaky now. So I start driving towards home. And I come to this light where when I get to the light, if I make a red at the light, I'm sorry, I was at a red light. If I make a right at the light, I'm headed home because there's a toll and then there's a highway to get home. If I go straight, that means I'm continuing around my day, continuing on with my day. And I start thinking in my head, I'm like, maybe I should just pull over, take a couple deep breaths. Maybe I'm overreacting, right? So, and I'm just about to go straight. And as the light turns green, and I let go of the brake, I'm about to hit the gas, and I see these red and blue flashing lights. Supernaturally, they start rising up in the air, about 50 to 100 feet up in the air. And I knew if I went straight, it was danger. I just knew it in my spirit. I knew it. I felt it in my bones. I felt it. And let me tell you something. I bust a right, and I start headed home. But the second I turn right, now I don't cry very easy. I really don't. It takes a lot to make me cry. The second I turn right, I start hysterically crying like a little baby. Tears are flying out of my eyes. Like it's pouring rain outside. And I'm just crying. I'm crying hysterically. I can't stop crying. It's just tears are coming out, and I don't even know where they're coming from. Everything is just boom, 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 boom. Everything's happening. And first thing I did was pray. I was like, Father, what's going on? Like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? That was my question to him. What was I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Now, a few days before that, a friend of mine told me a riddle. And the riddle goes as follows. I'm greater than God. I'm more evil than the devil. Rich people need me. Poor people want me. Poor people have me. If you eat me, you will die. So the riddle goes, I'm greater than God, more evil than the devil. Rich people need me. Poor people have me. If you eat me, you die. I got the riddle wrong when my friend told me it. Because the further along you go on the riddle, it throws you off. But the answer to the riddle is nothing. I mean, think about it. Nothing is greater than Elohim. At the time, I called him God. And the way the riddle was explained to me or told to me at the time, it was under that pagan title. But nothing is better than Yahuwah. And nothing's more evil than the adversary. And rich people don't need nothing. Poor people have nothing. And if you eat nothing, you'll die. Well, I tell you one thing. Right after I made that right turn, that riddle comes on the radio. Like, boom. It just comes on. And I hear it. And I'm just like, whoa. And I knew the answer to it that time. That time I knew the answer to that riddle. And I'm just like, wow. Like, that's how fast and clever our Father is. Yahuwah is so powerful and he's everything. He's just amazing. He's amazing. And the way he answered me with the riddle, and I knew it was him. I knew it. I felt it. I felt his presence. And I was just like, wow. I didn't get that wrong that time. I tell you that. Actually, I was in a car accident 3 weeks before that, on May 13th of 2015, and I was hurt, and I didn't know what was wrong with me yet. I hadn't gotten my what do they call it, the MRIs and the nerve test damage and all that. This is leading up to my testimony. Remember, I told you guys in past videos that I've had a back surgery. This was the beginning. This was right after the car accident. This is when I really got this particular epiphany. This is before I spoke with him. But I was hurt, is basically what I'm trying to tell you. And I didn't know the severity of me being hurt. But from that moment, for about, I'd say about an hour, hour and change, hour and a half, I had a supernatural connection with our Father. And it would go on to him explaining that I'm a bunch of different things. Every question I asked was being answered immediately, supernaturally through the radio. It sounds bizarre, I sound insane, I sound crazy, but I was there. And I mean, I have had many different types of epiphanies, and our Father YAHUAH Elohim speaks to his people in many, many, many different ways. And this was one of them. This was before I actually heard the voice, his actual voice and his son's voice. I have heard them speak to each other. So, I was told that something was wrong with me, and I would soon find out what it was. I asked, what type of things should I be doing? And he answered, and as soon as I asked what type of things I should be doing, I would hear, here's some of the things that you could do with your time. Like, it was just like spot on point. You know, and I'm coherent. I'm very, very, I'd like to consider myself, normal. Normal in the sense of, like, I'm not out of my mind, like, you know? Like, I know what I'm talking about. Like, anyway, basically what I'm trying to explain to you is that he answered, and one of the answers was some of the things you could do with your time were read the scriptures, spend more time with your family, you know, spend more time, you know, with friends, be a better friend, be a better listener, be a better friend in general. You know, a list of things would come on of things that I could do with my time, you know, and just a bunch of different questions were being answered to me supernaturally. And I mean, I couldn't see straight after this for days. I literally had like it was like, you ever like try to like look at your fingers, like with, like you put your finger and you cross your eyes? Like, I had like it was a little bit off, like my eyesight, like I felt like I was like kind of like glitched into the spiritual realm for a few days. And he gave me plenty of confirmations after that. Remember, I went to church that day looking to make my confirmation. And I got a message while this was happening. My phone went off. I didn't check my phone because I was just, like, I was in awe of what was going on. And I knew I was in his presence. My body was just releasing all the pain from the world. I was crying. And I just knew. I knew. When you know something, you know? And this is before I spoke with him in an audible voice. You know, he told me to read the Bible, you know, but read the scriptures is what the real name is. But at the time, you know, I knew it as the Bible, which is the same thing. It's the same thing, just the names were butchered out. But it's the first time I read the scriptures from cover to cover. I read like verses and, you know, John 3:16, you know, and things like that. But I didn't hear I didn't read it from cover, from Genesis to Revelation. I never done that before. And I obeyed, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because I learned a lot. And, you know, that's when I started realizing little things like, wow, like, we're supposed to do this and this, or why don't we do this? That's when I really, like, you know, the foundation, like, I retained a lot of information that first time. Anyway, he saved my life. I would have died that day. I know it in my spirit. I know it that he saved my life. He intervened. He intervened and saved me. I woke up that day, and I'm basically saying my goodbyes, telling everybody that I love them, and that, you know, if I don't get a chance to tell them I love them, you know, it would have been like if he didn't intervene, and like people would look back and like, how did he know? You know, like, It was in my spirit, but it wasn't my time. He has other plans for me. And he told me that the closer that he was going to be to coming back, the more he would speak to me. And he's kept his word. He has definitely 100% kept his word, because, you know, at that time I thought that was like the biggest epiphany I was ever going to have in my life. Like, wow, you're telling everybody, look what happened to me, what happened to me, you know. But, you know, back this past January, now I'm speaking to him like I'm speaking to anybody else, like his actual voice. Like, I guess I'm very, very blessed. You know, I am very blessed to be able to hear and experience all these things. And the faith is a gift that he gives us. It really is. It really is. It's a gift. And we're saved by our faith. We really, truly are saved by our faith. Our faith is what saved us. That's what it is. It's our faith. You cannot please our Father without faith. Our faith is what saves us. Now, our obedience is the receipt of our faith. That's what seals it, is our obedience. Because we love him so much. If you love me, follow my commands. So because we have faith, is we're saved, and because we love him, in return from being saved, we follow his commandments. That's the way we love him back. You know, he's spirit. He's everywhere. He's in me right now. He's everywhere. Our Father is everywhere. And in order for us to show him that we love him as well, we follow his commandments. He says it throughout all the scriptures. You follow my commandments. If you love me, follow my commands. He who loves me follows my commands. So, you know, like I said, a video was sent to my phone when I was crying, and I was asking the questions and receiving the revelation at the time. I didn't check it at the time, but when I got home later that night, sure enough, I looked at the video. I didn't look at it until I got home. When I got home, sure enough, I look at it. It's a video titled Confirmation. He's very clever. He is. I love him. You know, it's like I get a video. I wanted a confirmation that day, right? I got my confirmation. I tell you that. Yeah, and he continued speaking to me in different ways as confirmation for the next few days. Because when he does something, he confirms it. He really does. He doesn't leave you sitting. He's not the author of confusion. I tell you that. He's definitely not. He's very clear about what he wants. And one of the ways that he confirmed it, I was walking around a track of a field one day, you know, maybe a day or two afterwards, and I was speaking to him, speaking to our Father, and I'm looking, you know, across the field, and I see this bird just flying, you know, and you're not supposed to test our Father, but you're not supposed to test him, but I was going through so much. And I just asked him, I was like, Father, if that was you, if that really was you, because you second guess yourself sometimes. Like, you know what you know what you know. Like, you know that you know that you know that you know. But then sometimes you, like, time goes by, and you're like, wait a minute, did that really happen? Like, am I losing my mind? Did that really happen? Did that happen? And, you know, I asked him, I was like, if that really happened, Father, can you send that bird over here? Sure enough, that bird comes from about, I don't know, 300, 400 feet away, and flies directly over my head, spins, and flies across the whole entire field. And, well, that could have been luck, right? Yeah, I said the same thing. And I asked him, I was like, I know, please don't be upset with me. You know, kind of like Abraham, you know, forgive me, Father, but if 30 people, will you save the city, you know, for the sake of 30 people? And he says, for the sake of 30 people, I will save the city. But, yeah, no, he, you know, if that was you, can you send the bird back a second time just for confirmation? Birds all the way across the field. bird comes. As soon as I say when I ask it, the bird turns around and flies directly over my head again, and then goes right back on his way. I didn't ask him a third time. I didn't ask him a third time. Twice was enough for me. But yeah, our Father he really is. He's pure love. And if you don't know him, you need to get to know him. You really don't know what love is. Honestly, you really don't know what love is unless you have him in your life. It's impossible, because he is love. It's impossible to know what real love is, because, you know, people love one another, but they love him with condition. He loves unconditionally. You know, I was a filthy rag. I mean, I'm filthy, you know, filthy, disgustingly filthy, some of the things I've done in my life. You know, I'm ashamed of some of the things I've done, and he saved me when I was at my worst. He delivered me when I was at my worst, because nobody's saved yet until he comes. Until he physically comes back, to Yahusha returns, nobody's saved. But he has delivered me from my sins. He's delivered me from that path, and I truly thank him for it. I really do. And I wanted to share this with you, you know, because I pray that it actually, somebody listens to this, and it really, I hope it settles in, and it helps. I hope it helps in some way, shape, or form, and motivates people to get to know him, to repent, and to seek for him, because you search diligently, he can be found. And now's the time to find him. Find him while he can be found. Before that door shuts. The doors, all you got to do is knock. He's standing at the door knocking. All you got to do is open it. Open the door and let him in. Let him in. Your salvation is at hand. Your eternity is at hand. You know, money comes and goes. You know, flesh, we get old, we die. You know, looks come and go. Nothing lasts forever. He does. He is eternal. And he is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. He is everything. He is our Savior. He is our mother, father, brother, best friend. He's everything we can ever imagine and more. And he's beautiful. I mean, what he's done for me is absolutely amazing, and how he's delivered me from addictions and idolatry and just so many different things, you know. And I want to publicly tell everybody that I love him. I want to go on top of the building and scream it. I do, because he deserves it. He's worthy to be praised. And I really truly hope that this video touched somebody, and I hope that you all find your way. I pray, I do, in Yahusha's name. I pray that everybody finds their way, and those that are lost, I hope he plants a seed of salvation. I really do. He's coming soon. There's not a lot of time left. You know, World War III and anti-Messiah and New World Order and blah, 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 blah. Keep your eyes on him, because he controls everything. Don't fear. You know, love casts out all fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. The only thing you should fear is our Father YAHUAH Elohim, and that's it. So on that note, I want to wish everybody a beautiful Shabbat Shalom, and I hope that you all find your ways. All right? Shalom, everybody.